Welcome back, everybody, to our Operational Services Committee meeting. On this committee are myself, Councillors O'Connor, Councillor O'Toole, and Mayor Clayton. So we'll call the meeting to order, and I'll look for an adoption of the agenda, please. Councillor O'Toole.
I move that Council adopt the agenda as presented.
Thanks for that, Councillor O'Toole. And that carries. We have no delegations, so we'll go into reports, and I'll look to our acting chief, Mr. Nellis, please, to give us a service area update.
Good morning. Thank you, Chair Palat. The service area update in transportation and engineering services. Spring cleanup is underway. Transportation crews have begun cleaning concrete islands and street sweeping. We expect completion of center islands within 2 weeks, and then we're moving to the shoulder boulevards. In engineering services, tenders have been posted for the Bear River Control Structure armoring as well as road rehabilitation phase 4. RFPs have been posted for the storm sewer rehabilitation as well as paving designs for 105th Street and 96th Ave and 99th Street and 128th Avenue preliminary designs and cost estimates. We've had tenders closed for road overlay phase 1 and the RFP for the 25-26 road rehab. In corporate facility management, scheduling and preparing for the opening of seasonal facilities is underway. The Golden Age Center has selected a design consultant. We're working with them to prepare drawings for the grant applications. And we're assisting parks with the Dave Barr RFQ. Environment and parks, ongoing updates. Park staff are working through priority areas for litter cleanup. Lead hands are preparing satellite shops and equipment for the upcoming summer season. In environment, the annual City Scrub campaign has launched and will run through April. And with that, I will attempt to answer any questions you might have.
Okay, thank you for that. Any questions for the acting chief? Seeing none, I will move on to our next item, 4.2, local improvements, and I'll look to you to introduce, please.
All right, thank you. I'll be delivering this report on behalf of our department. We were directed to return to council with a report on local expenses and their utilization, basically a environmental scan throughout the province. This report is the results of some of that research. So, of course, a local improvement as defined in the Municipal Government Act is a project that the council considers to be of greater benefit to an area of the municipality than to the whole municipality, and that is to be paid for in whole or by part by a tax imposed under Division 7 of the Municipal Government Act. Within the report, we go a little bit into the background and the powers that municipalities have to utilize local improvements as a funding source for infrastructure upgrades. So just a brief overview of that process. It can be initiated by either the municipality or a concerned group of landowners that wish to pursue a local improvement. Those landowners would need to assemble a valid petition, and that's defined within the Municipal Government Act as requiring 2/3 of the affected property owners, and those owners must reflect at least 50% of the assessed value of the affected properties. Once that condition is fulfilled, a local improvement plan will be developed, at which time the municipality will set the funding split between the private partners and the municipality. So that can be set to whatever level council sees fit. Following that, there's a public notification period where for 30 days, the public has an opportunity to organize a petition against the potential local improvement. If one is received, it cannot move forward. If there's no valid opposition received, the execution of the project will take place, and then of course the landowners will be charged the appropriate amount, and it's usually either done as a lump sum or it can be amortized over the potential life of the asset being created. So going into our environmental scan on local improvements, first off, we start right here in the city of Grande Prairie. Local improvements have been used throughout the last 30 years on sporadic projects, but not as a reliable ongoing funding source. So some examples of significant projects that have been completed with local improvements. There was the paving of 124th Avenue north of Sean Sargent. So that was a project that was a split between the city and the surrounding landowners. The landowners wanted the paving of the road. It was gravel at the time. The city had necessity to expand storm sewer infrastructure at the same time, so that resulted in this funding split of $611,000 via the improvement tax and $329,000 for the city of Grande Prairie. Going through that list a little bit more, one significant project in 2003 was the paving of the Richmond Industrial Park. So again, that was a funding split between the city and the affected businesses and landowners therein. Going right back to 1991 and 1997, where the paving of the downtown lanes was actually a local improvement project as well. So, of course, as we said, landowners have the ability to organize a petition and defeat a local improvement if they see fit. So there are two listed in Table 2 that have been defeated by local landowner opposition, including the paving of 105th Street and the paving of 101st Street. Looking at some other municipalities, the City of Edmonton does have a local improvement policy, and this lays out the nature of projects that are local improvements, the typical repayment time, and they use local improvements as a significant funding source for some of their residential rehab work. So, for example, residential sidewalk placements are brought forward as a 50-50 funding split between the city and the local landowners, and then the onus, of course, is on those landowners to provide a valid petition to oppose the project. Within the city of Wetaskiwin, they've recently, 2018, they redid their local improvement policy and have actually encoded percentage allocations as seen in Table 3, where anything done on major truck routes or highways is 100% at the municipality's cost, where local projects are prescribed at a 50-50 funding split. Within the city of Medicine Hat, they administer local improvements as per the MGA, similar to the city of Grande Prairie. There's no specific policy. However, they have completed a number of projects as local improvements, some being 100% landowner funded and others being a split. The city of Calgary is interesting in that they do have extensive local improvements. They have 2 intakes per year, but they are explicit in their messaging that anything that is done via local improvement is replaced via local improvement at the end of its life cycle. In contrast, the city of Lethbridge does have local improvements, but they specify that at the end of life that asset is basically becomes a city asset and will be maintained as under the city's responsibility from that point forward. So in conclusion, this is a review of the local improvement practices across Alberta municipalities, and I would be happy to answer any questions that you might have on this topic.
Okay, thanks for that, Mr. Nellis. Great reports. I'll look to my colleagues for any questions. Not seeing their hands go up, so I did have a couple myself, actually, if you don't mind. I'm just wondering, when I look at the process, and I think you mentioned we could match it to life cycle. So hypothetically, if we wanted to pay of 101st Street now at this point in time, and it was a 25-year asset, if I'm understanding, we could actually amortize that over 25 years with all the proponents in that area as well.
Absolutely.
And just noticing other municipalities fund different amounts. That's just a council decision at that point of whether we want to pay 20, 40, 50, whatever percent. Okay. And then lastly, if we did say a 10 or 15 or 20 year cycle on something like that, is there interest charge on that from the municipality, or is it, I owe $10,000 over the next 25 years, I'm going to pay $10,000 back and no interest? I'm just curious how that mechanism works.
Thank you. Through the chair. So these projects are typically done via borrowing. So typically landowners are given the option to either do a lump sum payment upfront to avoid some of the interest charges, or they will pay the amount with interest over that.
Okay.
Over the amortization.
And it'd be at, we have a fairly attractive interest rate comparably, so it'd be at our interest rate.
Right.
Okay. No, that's great for me. I'll just look one more time to see if there's any Councillor O'Toole.
Yes, thanks very much, Councillor Palat. Does this administration have any potential sites that they would like to improve with local improvement at this point?
Thank you, through the chair. There are no projects at this time that we're bringing forward with local improvements as a suggested funding source. However, some of the projects that are currently underway, namely the preliminary design for paving of the Northside Industrial Parks near Keddies, those are ones that have been considered as local improvements before and might warrant discussion as they move closer to completion or to funding.
I know I brought it up a number of years ago in the area around Harry's Auto Wrecking. They didn't want nothing to do with it. They didn't want their taxes going up. So.
And that, sorry, through the chair, that is one of the projects we identified that was defeated by landowner opposition previously.
Okay, thank you very much.
Any other questions for Mr. Nellis? So I'd be just look for business arising, please. Councillor or Mayor Clayton, please.
I move the committee receive this report for information.
Thank you for that motion. All in favor?
O'Toole in favor.
Carries. Thank you. So we'll move on to our next item of business, our bylaw regarding our special tax levy for the Pinnacle Ridge. And I'll look to Ms. Nels to introduce again, please.
Thank you. Through the chair, I'm here to present Bylaw C-1484, which is the 2025 Special Recreational Services Tax Levy for Pinnacle Ridge. This is the annual renewal of this recreational levy. Of course, prior to 2010, we funded the operation and maintenance of the Pinnacle Ridge pond fountains and water entrance features. In 2010, funding was going to be discontinued. The neighborhood gathered together to submit a community petition. And ever since, there's been an amount charged to those households to maintain this water feature. The tax amount was reduced to $12.50 in 2022, and that's the proposal for this year, is to retain it at that level. There's currently a reserve of $29,965.11 in this account. So looking at the sustainability of this feature, we have seen a small increase in cost, some of those due to some vandalism and damage. However, administration thinks it prudent to try to retain a reserve around $20,000, which would allow for the replacement of a pump and a couple of years' worth of operating costs. So we believe it is suitable to keep the level at $12.50, understanding that the current reserve will probably be drawn down to that $20,000 threshold within the next 4 to 5 years if current trends hold. We did engage with the community, putting notices on the social media channels, reaching out to the Pinnacle Ridge Neighborhood Association directly, and putting a media release through our department to either submit comments to us or to appear as a delegation at either this meeting or the meeting coming up of council next week. To date, all we have received was a couple of informational questions from the Neighborhood Association about some of the cost breakdowns and the funding sources. So, in short, we are recommending retaining the operating budget of $8,350 based on the $12.50 special tax for the 668 homes in Pinnacle Ridge. And with that, I will take any questions.
So the report. Any questions for our director, Councillor O'Toole?
Yeah, I was going to ask you. Thank you very much, Councillor Plott, and thank you for being here. And I remember being in council when they put that Pinnacle Ridge fountain in, and they had a room full of people that were supporting it and about 4 people that didn't want to pay $20 a year. And it got passed unanimously. And you said that there was nobody this time asking negative about it, so that's a good thing to hear. It obviously does brighten some people's lives every day when they drive by, so that's all. And when you're ready, I will take care of business if...
Thanks, Councillor O'Toole. I had Councillor O'Connor in line for business.
Okay.
Councillor O'Connor.
Thank you, Chair Palat. I'd like to move committee recommend council give 3 readings to Bylaw C-1484, being the 2025 Special Recreational Service Tax Levy in Pinnacle Ridge.
Thanks for the motion, Councillor O'Connor. Vote. And that carries. And I'll just go to Mayor Clayton, who had a question as well, please.
Thanks. Mr. Nellis, can you tell me, I see that the reserve is almost $30,000. The pump replacement in 2022 was just over $8,000. What are other anticipated costs that we need such a large reserve? If we replace the pump for $9,000, why do we need $30,000 in a reserve?
Thank you, through the chair. The reserve basically is to try to maintain a couple of years worth of operating expenses. So we would be able to do a subsequent pump replacement if the one failed, and we would have the money in hand to basically install, remove, and do any maintenance to that pump, as well as paying those electricity costs. So it's basically just to ensure continuity of operation if the funding source was to dry up or we needed to transition out.
Thank you.
Thanks for that, Mayor Clayton. We'll move on to item 4.4, our Trader Ridge Phase geotechnical report improvements. And I'll look to Mr. Nelson to introduce as well, please.
Thank you. And I would like to introduce our Development Engineering Manager, Ashley Coulter, to take us through this report.
Go ahead, please, Ms. Coulter.
Thank you. Good morning. So in 2016, the city and Aquaterra entered into a servicing agreement with Trader Properties, Inc. for the development of the first phase of the Trader Ridge lands. This project resulted in the requirement to upgrade 132nd Avenue adjacent to Trader Ridge, including the twinning of the roadway, installation of a pathway, and installation of traffic signals, as well as other geometric improvements. Improvements to arterial road networks are typically funded through offsite levies. Through the servicing agreement, the developer constructed all of the required improvements in exchange for an offsite levy credit as permitted by the MGA and our transportation offsite levy bylaw. After the construction was completed, the developer recognized a credit of approximately $450,000 based on the direct cost of the work. The recent subdivision of the future recreation site in Trader Ridge has reduced that credit to $181,661.10. Through the negotiations for the purchase of the land for the recreation center, the developer requested that the offsite levy credit be reimbursed so that the funds could be utilized to complete the remaining landscape deficiencies under the Trader Ridge servicing agreement. Therefore, it's recommended that committee recommend that council allocate $181,661.10 from the Transportation System Reserve to reimburse Trader Properties, Inc. for the arterial road improvements completed on 132nd Avenue. I'm open to any questions.
Okay, thanks for the introduction on that. Any questions from committee? Okay, seeing none, I would just look for business arising and go to Councillor O'Toole.
Thank you very much, Councillor Palat. I move that committee recommend council allocate $181,661.10 from the Transportation System Levy Reserve to the Trader Ridge Phase 1 project to reimburse Trader Ridge Properties, Inc. for geometric improvements completed on 132nd Avenue.
Okay, thanks for that motion, Councillor O'Toole. Please vote. And that carries. And with that, we'll go to our last item of business, our outstanding item list, and I'll just look to Mr. Nelson to introduce again.
Thank you. Through the chair. With the report delivered today, this completes item 1343 on local improvement expenses. And all of the other items remain on track for execution during their expected report dates. So that'd be the only amendment to the outstanding items list at this time.
Okay, thank you for that. And I'll go to Councillor O'Toole, or Councillor O'Connor, please.
Try to sneak it by me. Thank you, Chair Palat. I'd like to move committee receive the April 15th outstanding items list as amended for information.
Thanks for the motion. And that carries. And with that, we will adjourn our Operating and Services Committee, and we'll be back momentarily with our Public and Protective Services Committee. Thank you.